My name is Randall Mitchell, and I am the PNM candidate for San Fernando East General Elections 2015. I'm 36 years of age, and I was born and grew up in Coquet Village, San Fernando, located in the constituency of San Fernando East. I'm an attorney at law by profession, but an entrepreneur at heart. School days, I truly enjoyed primary school. I was a member of the football team, I was a member of Cub Scouts, and those were the golden years, truly. Presentation college, same, I was a member of the football team. I really enjoyed sports. I think at secondary school, I really wanted to get out into the real world, so I didn't take secondary school too seriously. I mean, I did my work, I got my CXC passes, but I really wasn't interested too much in secondary school. So when I left secondary school, I got a job. I was a marketing assistant, and it was during that job that I really decided that I needed to go off on my own. Right, so I started a business with a partner, but things didn't turn out too well. But over the course of the first 2 years of the business, I came upon an opportunity to start an environmental lab. It was just a business opportunity. So I hired some technical persons, some lab technicians, and we started the lab. And we started that lab in 2002, and it's a successful lab, it's a successful business, and it's still running today. Since then, I've done some contracting. I've gotten some construction contracts. I've done some investments. I've invested in property. I also have another business that I do chemical sales, and now I own a pharmacy. So in and around 2004, I decided that I needed to further my education and I needed a degree. At that point in time, the government of the day introduced a program called GATE that made education free. So I took advantage of that and I decided I wanted to do a Bachelor of Laws program. I decided upon law because everything is governed by law. I think it's the most flexible degree. Even if you don't get into litigation, or you don't want to get into the legal profession, there's still room for you because everything is governed by rules. So I started my Bachelor's of Law in 2004, and I completed that in 2007. In 2007, I applied to do the bar in England, and I went to the University of Northumbria in Newcastle, and I completed that bar program in 2008. While at Newcastle, I also took advantage and I did the Masters of Law program, and I successfully completed that in 2009, and I returned home. Well, studying and managing a business is quite challenging. When you do it, one thing that you really need to master is time. You really need to manage your time. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of determination. I like traveling. I do it when I get the chance. I last went to Spain. Look at a Real Madrid game, look at a Barcelona game. So I really enjoy traveling, but I really don't have much time to do it. But I do it when I can. I've been to Spain, I've been to England, I've been to Scotland, I've been to Dubai, I've been to the US, all over the US. I've been to Wisconsin, to Chicago, to Vegas. I've been to a lot of places. in the US? Well, I like the architecture, actually. I like green spaces that some of those other countries offer. I like the order. I like the fact that you don't really need a car to get around, and public transportation is readily available and is very efficient. Yeah, I always get inspiration, when you travel, because you really see, in more developed countries how businesses run, the efficiency of business, the power of business. So yeah, it's an eye-opening experience, and it's an occasion where you really can be inspired. Well, I always had an interest in politics because, for me, politics is about influencing ideas. It's about decision making, right? Decision making on behalf of your community, decision making on behalf of your nation. So, I really want to be a part of the decision making process. I really want to have a say in where the community goes and where the nation goes and the decisions that the community makes as a collective. My political philosophy is that elected officials should fundamentally serve the people, right? With respect to government, I believe that government must do its part to protect the rights and freedoms of all its citizens. It must do its part in alleviating social ills. It must do its part in delivering the resources of the country with equity, across the board. I also believe that citizens should take personal responsibility. They should take personal responsibility over their own affairs. Well, our generation must recognize the importance of getting involved in the decision-making process in determining our future. Our generation is the most educated that it has ever been. Our generation benefits from technological advances. I believe that our generation is politically active. You see it on social media all the time. People comment, people make political comments, people debate. But, very rarely that political activism actually turns into involvement. Our generation must recognize that they should be no longer content to sit on the sidelines. Our generation must turn, apathy towards involvement. The biggest challenge in Trinidad and Tobago today is trying to change the culture of dependence that appears to be very pervasive today among all economic classes. We have a welfare mentality, from the big businessman who is dependent on the state for contracts, to the small man who is dependent for his living on CPEP or URP. I would really like, to play a part in changing that culture. We need to return to, a situation where, the pursuit of excellence is really the standard. We need to return to a place where citizens rely on innovation and creativity to really make a difference, to really earn a living, to create value. But my vision for Trinidad and Tobago isn't different from any right-thinking patriot. I would like to see a crime-free society. I would like to see a society where there is an equitable distribution of the state's resources among all. I would like to see a society where there is access to quality healthcare and education. I would like to see a society where everyone has the opportunity to pursue prosperity. Well, we need to move towards a more systematic approach to managing things. We need to plan things. Things are managed by systems. A lot of people believe that a lot of infrastructure is synonymous with development, and it's not necessarily so. In moving towards developed country status, we need to develop systems where we better manage the collection of our revenue. We need to create better systems of transparency and accountability. We need better systems in managing our healthcare. We need better systems to manage the road infrastructure, transportation in our country. So that's it. We need better systems. We need better processes. And that's what will take us to developed country status. My leadership style is a democratic one. I hold myself accountable for all the decisions that I make. But in working with a team, I tend to share the decision making. I believe that is a way in which you get more buy-in and you get people more engaged, in the team. But that said, one of the drawbacks of that democratic style of leadership is that decision making can be quite slow. So, I'm a bit flexible as well. I know when I need to make snap decisions, when quick decisions are called for, and I make quick decisions in those circumstances. Well, I'm working on my public speaking in a more engaging, in a more inspirational and motivational sense. Political movements are largely based on voluntarism. So you need to motivate people to actually get them to work. Dealing with the press, media relations, that has been challenging, has been a bit intimidating. Well, I think one really needs to get accustomed to cameras being in your face, lights being in your face, microphones being stuck in your face, and really thinking on your feet. Because, cameras are rolling, and in most instances, cameras are live. So you really need to think about what you're going to say, because if you say the wrong thing, there will be consequences for that. So that makes it, a bit intimidating. But it's something that you can learn about. It's something that you can get used to, something that you can get familiar with, something that you can learn to deal with. Yeah, for me, it's a double-edged sword. I feel honored to be carrying the P&M torch in San Fernando East. From 1956, it was Mr. Montano, and then it was Mr. Manning for 44 years. So in that sense, it's a privilege, it's an honor. But on the other hand, it's some very huge shoes to fill. Mr. Manning has left an incredible legacy, in San Fernando East. He was a former Prime Minister, and he was the MP for 44 years. People love him. He's dedicated his life service to politics and to the improvement of the people of San Fernando East and of the country. So it is incredibly daunting. I don't think I could fill his shoes, but I can learn from him, and try to walk in my own shoes. At the screening committee, it was a bit nerve-wracking, right? I don't know if you're aware of the screening committee. I mean, you sit in a chair and you have the entire screening committee there just firing questions at you. So, it could be, intimidating. But I got through it. I answered my questions well. I acquitted myself well. And in the end, the verdict was favorable. I was confident. I think I did well. I didn't have much time to think about that though, because the media confronted me, outside the room, outside the building. So that was another part of the adventure. When I got the news, I was relieved. I was relieved that the screening process was over and that I was actually selected. I felt elated. But, as soon as the media descended, then I realized, the huge responsibility now on my shoulders as candidate for San Fernando East in the next general elections and possibly representative for San Fernando East in the next 5 years. Yeah, the first walkabout, it went well. We decided to walk in the area in which I grew up, Kokia Village. I was warmly greeted, I was warmly received, and it really turned out to be a confidence booster. It wasn't my first walkabout. I usually accompanied candidates on walkabout, but it was my first walkabout as a candidate. So all the attention, the media was there. It was a little off-putting, but I think it turned out well. Well, the first memorable experience was actually meeting my mother, driving. She was driving her car, coming home, and I met her and I greeted her, and it was captured by photograph, and that was one of the more memorable experiences. And greeting some of my neighbors, who knew me from a little boy coming up. They really expressed pride in, learning that I was candidate and being greeted as candidate, being from that area. That was also very memorable. During one of our walkabouts in Koki, we met a guy. He was blind. His house was dilapidated, and he was on social welfare. And he told a very sad tale. He depended on others. He lived alone, so he depended on others to bring his social welfare check and to take him to the hospital and to go and actually get groceries for him. And the persons who he had depended on to do these things were actually dishonest people, and they were actually robbing him blind. We asked the neighbors to really intervene, to assist the gentleman. We also told the personnel at the MP's office of his situation, to see if they could have rendered, or they could have gotten assistance rendered to him. It says walk until you can't walk anymore. Walk and ensure that you meet everyone. Ensure that you meet everyone face to face. Ensure that you ask everyone for their votes. Be pleasant at all times with your team members, with the residents. Even if you feel as though someone may not support you, still go and meet that person. Still try and convince that person that to vote for you. Still convince that person that you are here as representative to all and not just to PNM supporters. I believe that Dr. Rowley is the right man to lead Trinidad and Tobago. Present circumstances that exist in the country today calls for a man with the strength of character that Dr. Rowley possesses. Intellectually, there is no match for Dr. Rowley in the political leadership in the country today. Dr. Rowley leads by example, and he has shown time and time again that he is unwilling to be corrupted by the love for high office. In the party, Dr. Rowley has truly deepened the democracy by instituting the one man, one vote during his time of leadership. With respect to the screening committee, Dr. Rowley removed the veto power of the political leader, and the consequence of that is that it brought parity to the screening committee. Dr. Rowley has truly dedicated his life towards the service of others, towards the service of country. Notwithstanding what you hear about other politicians, the negative press about other politicians today, Dr. Rowley, has really shown by his example that there is still nobility in being a politician today. Dr. Rowley always tells us that, serving others, losing yourself in the service of others can truly be a rewarding experience. And I believe that it inspires me. My favorite place in San Fernando is actually atop San Fernando Hill. It's a park, it's extremely scenic, very breezy, and it's very relaxing. What is really special about San Fernando is its people. Its people, are really warm, friendly, down to earth, and real. Well, San Fernando East is made up of a number of villages, a number of residential areas. So we have Monrepo, we have Pleasantville, we have Coquille, we have St. Madeleine, we have Corinth, we have Taradale, we have St. Joseph Village, we have Marabella. Favorite places to eat in San Fernando: Morvino, Sushi, The Wok, formerly Jenny's Wok, Chinese and American food, Soon's Great Wall, Chinese food, S&D's Roti, and right here by the Coquille roundabout, Doubles.